Okay, perfect. So I just was feeling like personally compelled to talk about this as a topic. And I know that we all go through seasons of stuck or struggle, like personally. And then it's like in those times, I feel like it's hard to show up for your business or for like extracurricular type things. So I just kind of wanted to talk about some strategies, some things that may cause overwhelm in the business, and then some strategies of maybe how to kind of combat that or get past it. And so my first slide is just as a coach. I hear this all the time. I hear this whenever I listen to the National Wake Up Call and coach trainings and things. Your start date that you like dive in and start really working the business does not have to necessarily be your sign up date. Like your coach enrollment date that's, listed in your dashboard in the back office may not necessarily be when you dive in and start. I know people that did start day one as a customer and day one as a coach at the same time. And that to me sounds really scary. I had to really like believe in this and know that it changed me before I wanted to help other people. And then I know people that were just like me, that were like a client, a customer that really started to have a transformation, believe in the products and the programs. And then we're asked to coach. And it was like, for me, I think I might be like, no, I'm not the norm, because I was asked to coach by my coach. And I think like 1 month later, I was coaching. I was just like, yeah, absolutely. And in fact, in looking back, I've looked back at our conversation. She actually dropped the ball and stopped having the conversation with me. Like she invited me to like a coach sneak peek or something. And then I was like, oh yeah, tell me more about that. Or like, let me know when it is. And like it was crickets. And then the very next time she reached out to me, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that before, but like it was crickets. So it was just funny. I don't feel like I'm the norm. I feel like a lot of times when I listen to other coaches' stories, they're like, oh my God. And then she asked me to coach 9 times and I finally did. And now that now they're doing it full time. But everyone has like a funny story about that. And I have been told by people that I'm very persistent, but it's been in a good way. Like there are clients that now I see just sharing their own journeys on Facebook, and I'll, comment and be like, I'm so proud of you. And they'll be like, thanks for your persistency. Like, thanks for never giving up on me and always wanting me to join you. So with that, I just wanted to say, just once again, that your coach sign up or enrollment date does not necessarily have to be when you actually start doing it. It could be today, it could be next month, it could be, down the road. I know people that have coached for 6 months or a year and like then have decided, you know what, I really need to get serious about this. So, and it all comes down to your why and your goals too. Like you may not have a goal to do this full time, or to earn full-time income. It may just be supplemental, or it may just be for accountability or for products and programs that you love. So there's all kinds of like different tiers of why we coach, and types of coaches as well. Okay, so I do want you to think back on that though, to your, not your why, but just why did you start? What grabbed you? Maybe you saw me talking on stories, or maybe you saw the little coach word under people's names in our bod group or something like that. So this is just totally for you to think about. But was it the community? Was it accountability? Was it money? I don't share a lot about money like in my stories or my posts, and I honestly am gonna start more, like at least weekly, because like coach payday was today. I'm gonna talk tomorrow about money, but it becomes like a taboo thing. But you have to think about it this way. Like, do you apologize for making money like in any other job? Like in your regular day-to-day job, are you like, oh, that's so icky to talk about? Like, of course I'm not going to drop like numbers or anything, but we get paid to do this. And so I think that that's important to speak on. Even I swear my first check was probably like 30 some dollars, and it was like a paper check in the mail because I hadn't even signed up direct deposit yet. I honestly didn't even think about or realize that I was like gonna be getting paid to sign up a couple friends. But I know it at least paid for probably a tank of gas or like a bill, like an electric bill or something like that. But that was something that I didn't tangibly have before. Um, and money talks to a lot of people. Um, I was in a space when I signed up of needing accountability. That was pretty much my number one, but also at the same time, I had been looking for some kind of a side gig or something to do for a while. I mean, it had been probably like years that I had thought to myself, oh, like when am I going to actually find something to do that isn't just like babysitting other people's kids on the weekends? Um, and, you know, I did think about like network marketing or something else like that where I could do it from home, do it on the weekends, do it at night. And so then when I started the workouts, the nutrition, and this actually worked, and then I was asked to coach, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer because this is actually something that I believe in and that I can talk about and that has changed me so it can change other people. So I definitely started for accountability and the money. Um, and then all these other little things now are, the community mainly and the people is why I have stayed, but also the money. And I just think that like there's so many cool things that come along with being a coach, like events that you can either earn or, pay to go to. But at the events, there's always trainings, there's always networking, there's always something that's going to like light your fire. It's pretty much like a conference for coaches. Recognition is always fun too, whether that's like little prizes or your name getting shouted out somewhere. Some people start to help other people, like they are helpers. I consider myself a helper as well, and I really enjoy that piece of it, especially clients. So you may have wanted to start to help other people, and I know people that aren't shy about the fact that they're like, I just want, my shakes covered this month because I'm going to buy them anyway. So if I can make, $90 and pay for my shakes, then that's what I'm going to do. Or was it fulfillment? And this is kind of a deep one, but were you searching for something else? Were you searching for joy, friendship, other things to do to fulfill you, maybe outside of relationships that you already have or outside of a job that you already have? So just, keep that in mind. I think too, like on the hard days, we're always going to have hard days, like in whatever like jobs we have and just in life. But thinking back to really what like triggered you to want to do this is really important. And then also think to yourself, and I'm gonna go over these two and like what we can do to kind of try to combat them, but what is holding you back or making this difficult? And these are really, I think, consistent things. And well, the first one is consistency, but I think that these are consistent struggles in this business of why people may, struggle here and there. So is it consistency? Is it that, you just don't have the consistency in doing the vitals, or you may be like really on it one day and then the next day you're not, which I will say sometimes that is still me. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like 4 days in a row, I did 4 power hours, I sent all these invites, and then all of a sudden, like the weekend is here, like this weekend we're traveling. I just have a feeling that it may be a little bit of a struggle, this week with consistency. Time, like literally time in the day. Fear or limiting beliefs, which is another big one. Comparison, like are you comparing yourself to other coaches or just other people that you see on social media? Thinking that you don't have anything valuable to share. Do you not have a strong enough why to keep pushing? Do you have the social media scaries as far as posting, sharing, talking? And this is a real one. This is a real one that I definitely probably struggled with a little bit more in the beginning, even here and there every once in a while. Is your significant other, what do they think of this? Are they supportive? Have you had like a real conversation about it, and what you need to do in little pockets of your day and things like that. So we are going to go over some of these things. So I'm kind of going like what the problem is and a potential solution for you of just what I have seen and what like personally and what I've learned in like different trainings and stuff. So if time or consistency are your problems of like getting in the vitals and doing the things that we do as coach, I would definitely say schedule when you're going to actually do your work things. Like filling out your business activity tracker and the little, the vital behaviors in the pockets of your day. If time might be an issue for you, I think power pockets might work where you do 15 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here. And if consistency is an issue, I do think that power hours are gold, especially because you can really like schedule that out. We have access to live power hours where you would hop on Zoom live, and obviously mute yourself, but also there are power hours for Beachbody all over YouTube that coaches have. I have some power 30s and things too. So if you can't make it to one of the actual live power hours and just bust it out in 1 hour, everything that you need to do for the day, I would definitely consider still scheduling it, but just finding one on YouTube and just sitting down and following along with it. So those two are good for time and being consistent with time. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I truly believe that personal development and or professional development, like trainings and stuff, are like the bread and butter of this business. I really never read a self-help type book before I started this, and I love that it's one of our vital behaviors. Like honestly, the fact that getting healthy, from the inside out basically is our number one job as coaches is one of my favorite things about this business. Like, even on days that I may not send an invite, I'm still going to be moving my body and doing either devotional meditation, something, even if it's not like 10 or 20 minutes of reading, it's going to be something that I was absolutely not doing before. So personal plus professional development can solve your fears of limiting beliefs. I feel like that is like a buzzword, to be honest, in this business is limiting beliefs. And I guarantee that you could YouTube Beachbody limiting belief. You would find trainings and calls from like some amazing coaches about it. Kim Fitzpatrick is one of my favorites, and Moira Kusaba, who was just the coach of the year. They both are just amazing when it comes to professional development and training, and I could guarantee if you YouTubed them, they're going to have some amazing like trainings about getting over fears and getting over some of your limiting beliefs. Comparison to, I stopped following a lot of coaches on Instagram and social media in general because I may not have been where they were yet in life, or maybe they just weren't my cup of tea. But I feel like, comparison definitely, I forget what the saying is. It's like comparison is the thief of joy, or the something kills joy. But yeah. So I think that if you are spending like a lot of time on social media scrolling and looking and seeing what other coaches are doing and feeling that like jealous or envy of them, then just don't follow them. Bless and release. It's okay. And then the fear of having nothing to share. So there is a book called Stories That Stick by Kendra Hall, and she really talks about how you can share your story. And she's an amazing storyteller too, by the way. But I just feel like you have to get out there and do it. We were all afraid to put ourselves out there on social media at one point in time. There's still things that just for my husband's privacy, like things that I'm not currently like putting on blast out there that we're going through. And that's okay because there's still other things that I am sharing. But I feel like you just have to do it. And the book by Kendra Hall, Stories That Stick, would be like a perfect book to read for personal development if you're having trouble with sharing. And then maybe you don't have a strong enough why right now to continue to show up. And that's something that you could either listen to a training call on, specifically, oh gosh, girl, wash your face. Why can't I think of her name? Not Rachel. Yes. My God, I have the book
Rachel
right behind me somewhere. What?
Rachel Hollis.
Rachel, yes, Rachel Hollis. I'm like, I literally like read that book and listened to her podcast. I know that I've listened to a podcast of hers before where she does this like pretty in-depth type of like visioneering your life and your why. And it's like, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, like just write everything. What does your morning routine look like? Like it's awesome. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm almost like 99% sure it's Rachel Hollis that does that like visioneering. And I'm pretty sure she even has a journal, is it Start Today journal, where you do that. And you like vision cast every day. But I would urge you to do that and just maybe redevelop your why or relook at it. It's going to change over time. Mine has changed from when I started to now for sure. And I kind of look at it every once in a while and do that kind of a task, like kind of reimagining, revisioneering, and seeing like, well, what's my why now? Like I'm a few years older, one of my whys used to be like this room that I'm in right now. And like, here I am. So that's, gone and done. Now I get to have a different one. So yeah, definitely if you need any recommendations on books, I mean, generally I will just Google like best books for this problem. And it's something that I'm like struggling in. And I bought a bunch of books this year on Amazon that just had to do with those. But you can always Google it. You can always ask me. And if I don't know, I can reach out because I just know in this community, there's so many people that read so many personal development books because that's one of our things that we do to take care of ourselves. Okay. So I already did kind of talk about like just comparison and worrying about posting and not having anything to share. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna go back for 1 second because nothing to share. I was thinking of the social media scaries. So nothing to share, I feel like basically is you're just saying like you can't think of anything to post that day and it can stress you out. And that's totally happened to me. So basically, sorry, when I made this slide, this is what I meant by it. If you are reading personal development, even if you're just tuning in to what the trainers are saying during the workouts, you can find something to post for that day and spin it to connect with you and connect with the people that are following you. There's days that I may not have like the most influential like thing to say. But if I just listen to the trainer when they're doing their motivational, inspiring speeches, I will find something. And same with personal development, listening to a podcast, finding a little nugget that really spoke to you and flipping that into why that spoke to you is going to also speak to your followers. So I digress there, but that's what I meant by nothing to share. And then social media scaries, which I already talked about, is just being scared to post. So really, you just have to take action and do it. And then I will give my best advice for this is if your significant other like has concerns about this business, first of all, I think that that's great. I think that that's healthy. Like there's definitely been times that, my husband has questioned things and I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. Like, let me find the answer or let me communicate the answer to you. But also, I just feel like when you are working from your phone a lot and this is what they see, they may not understand what you're doing. So it is important to just maybe put a timeline on something, maybe name what you're doing. Say, hey, I'm crafting a post. This is going to take me, 4 more minutes, maybe 5. I'm always like really bad about estimating time, but he also knows that. The other night, actually, it was Monday night, and I was going to be on a leadership call to learn, but I just said I have a call tonight, and he was like a call that you're going to lead for your team to show up, or a call that you're going to sit and listen and learn. And I was like, learn. Thanks for asking. Like, but when I just say that, when I just say I have a call, he doesn't know whether I'm the one leading it, whether I'm the one listening, whether it's just a planning call with my mentor or something like that. So I really appreciated that he asked. And then it also helped me to think in the future, I'll explain that a little better to him next time so that he actually knows like the tasks and what I'm doing. So I would just kind of narrate that, let them know how long, this may take. Like, hey, this will be a 10-minute task, or this will be a 15-minute task, or if you're going to do like a power hour, then you get it out of the way in 1 hour, but just let them know, like, hey, don't bother me for this 1 hour and then I'm all yours, kind of thing. So I just think communication is key, and communicating your why, like telling them visions that you have and goals that you have. And hey, like, I really want to buckle down and do this. I just think that it's a very open and honest way to do things. Oh, and that's it. All right. Well, any questions? I will exit. I'll stop sharing my screen, I mean.
Oh, you're so efficient that you surprised yourself. I love it.
I did surprise myself. I made this PowerPoint at work on like Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, and I was just like busting it out, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I was done with it, but I'm not actually sure. I think it was only like 8 or 9 slides.
No, I love it.
Any questions before I stop recording?
So more on the lines of, so my issue is, I don't know if this would fall under consistency, but when you're continuing to put all of that effort in, and then it's almost a consistency with energy thing. Like I can sometimes have weeks where I post, every single day for 2 weeks straight, but one of those weeks I felt like I had nothing left to give. There's just not a lot of feedback, and I don't process that very well personally.
Sure. Okay. Do you ever batch content? Like, do you ever make, when you are in a high energy phase and feel like you have a lot to share, do you ever like crank out like 10 reels and save them? Or
When you say batch, that to me sounds larger than what I do. There are times where I do 2 or 3, but I don't take the time to do more than that as like a backup.
yeah. No, that's consistent, I feel like. I mean, I would say at any given time, if I'm really feeling it, feeling myself, and like really loving like the reels audio or something, I may make it like a few in one night, or at least record them, save them, and then figure out like in another moment what I'm gonna actually type. Like, how am I gonna make this relate to wellness or life? It doesn't matter at the moment, but I'll just be like, okay, like my makeup's half done today. Let me just record this reel. So I would suggest potentially doing more of that. Like when you are in a high energy space, making a few reels at a time, but saving for the days that you don't have the energy. Does that make sense? And same with like posts. I
Right.
craft a lot of posts at work. I mean, I just do because I may have listened to personal development on the way in, and I'm like holding on to one nugget that's going around and around in my head. And then when I get to work, I email myself. And I may think of 2 to 3 other posts that I'm going to make for that week. And then all I really need is like a photo to go with it or something. Which you can also kind of batch your photos like on a maybe a weekend day or a day that you have a little bit of extra time to throw on a couple different outfits and just do some different photos around different parts of your house in natural lighting or outside. And then that way you just have kind of like a library of photos to like throw up on a day that you have something to say, but then may not want to take a picture of yourself. Because I feel like it's hard to line up the days that you have something to say, look presentable, have the energy to make a reel. So when you are feeling that energy, take the time to just maybe create a couple extra like pieces of content that